Hey everybody, sorry, I'm working the back. How's everybody doing today? We're back. We're live. I'm gonna be doing things, so it may be a little off with me working the back, but that's all right. We're gonna get through it. All right. So on this episode, we are going to have a word from our sponsor. I don't even know what episode this is. Oh, episode 46. I was like, it's hard to keep up. We're gonna talk about some government contracting and Linux and skills, what they're looking for. Some We're gonna talk about some books. We're gonna talk about these contracts. We're gonna talk about um, being a consultant, your skill sets. It's a lot of things that we're gonna cover. That's really gonna probably change some perspective, but this is how we Linux. Um, this is how we're doing things. The first one was talking about, well, you made this money, and now where you're gonna invest it. And this one is, how do we make the skill sets to make that money? This is one is for. Shout out to the Roblox. What's going on? How you doing? Donald, how you doing? Welcome back, Toya. David Christian, welcome back. I hope y'all enjoyed the first show. We talked about a lot about taxation. It's super huge. Taxation is super huge, and where you getting taxed at, and where you want to be. You want to be tax free, but we talked about that as well. Just Let's do a word from our sponsor, and then we'll come back, and then we'll do a overview of what we covered last week on this show. And did we have a show last week? I think we did. I gotta double check because sometimes I run over. I think we had a show last week, but whatever. Let's do an intro from our sponsor. Hey everybody, welcome to Women in Linux. I am Tam, and Dee is in the background, and we just want to share with you some of the perks of being here on our channel. All right, so first things first, if you want to connect with us on social media, connect with us anywhere on social media at Women in Linux. If that's just too much for you, you can always come and find us on womeninlinux.org. And if that's not enough, we have even more perks where you can hit the connect button. Once you hit connect button, you put your email address in here, and once you put your email address in here, it'll connect with us in our Slack group. We have tons of resources in our Slack group. People looking for jobs, people just looking for advice, people looking for information, and so forth. Right. So again, this is Slack. It's not Discord. So on with using Slack, warn you, it is resource heavy. So you may need to use either the web browser, or if you're on your phone, you should be fine. But if you're on your desktop, and we know most of you connect on your computer, it's easier to open it up in your web browser so it doesn't take up so much memory or so many processes and so forth. That's just an FYI. That's how I use it. Okay. And if you would like to shop with us, we still have our stuff from our 5 year stuff. Still good. We're working on more T-shirts. No, no estate, no date. We're still working on that. But again, if you want to shop and you want to get some merch, feel free to come here and get some merch. Again, if you come over here and click on all products, you'll see on all the products that we have, from hoodies to masks and so forth and so on. Right. And if that isn't good enough for you, you can donate. You can always donate with your time. You can donate with your money. So, how do you donate with your time? You donate with your time by saying, hey, I would like to do a presentation, or I like to volunteer on helping us grow the channel. You retweet, you share this with other members. In fact, for those of you that come here every single week, we know you come here every single week and you don't subscribe. That helps us grow the channel. That helps us get more content to you. Hey, research isn't easy. I'm not getting paid to do research. I wish it was at a university, but hey, I'm bringing this to you, right? I'm bringing this to you and us and for others, right? So if that doesn't work, You can always donate on PayPal by clicking the donate button. Once you hit the donate button, you have your own denominations in which you can donate. And if that doesn't work to you, for you can always reach out to D and you can cut a check and send a check. That works for us as well. All right. So, what are some other things that we actually do have as well? Right. So, we have a discount with IT Pro TV. You get 30% off. I've used IT Pro TV myself. I've done interviews with them. I'll pull those up as well too. But as you can see, I'm logging into IT Pro TV. What are the benefits here? You need to learn how you learn. So one of the things you can do in IT Pro TV, you can come over here. You can click on courses, and it gives you a list of courses that's separating them out by certification, and also separate them out by learning paths. You're like, Tamika, what does that mean? My four basic principles or my four basic foundations of skill sets that you should have is Linux. You should also have an automation tool, whether it's Terraform or Ansible. You should know at least a cloud. I don't care. Pick either one. And finally, last but not least, security. And security comes in multiple forms: security of the operating system, security of the application, and also security of containers, right? And cloud security. So it's multiple facets when we're talking about security. Those are your four basics that you're going to need to to get you a job and then move you up. All right. And we're going to talk about our membership here in another video, but I just want to get this out to you. All right. So that's 30% off of IT Pro TV. And last but not least, our Calendly. We have set up for our Calendly. Let me pull that up. I think I have it saved in my browser here, so I can just go straight to it. If not, I'll get it from D here. Here we go, right here. All right. So with Calendly, we have one-on-one sessions. That's where you get to talk to either me or D, and you can request either one. But where you get to talk to us in a one-on-one session, right? Interview prep. Some of you are getting ready for interviews, or you never interviewed before. We want to prep you for an interview. Resume review. Let's go over what you have, or let's pull all your skills together. Let's get things formatted properly. Let's get everything going. And last but not least, career assessment. What is your journey? What could it look like? What could you be going through? What are your next steps? Some of you are transitioning, some of you are not, some of you are looking to transition, and some of you are just trying to figure out what is your next step. So, by saying all of this, we want you to enjoy your time here at Women in Linux. And also, as always, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the share button, and last but not least, thank yourself that you actually did it. All right, we're back. All right, that was a word from our sponsor. Shout out to Tam for doing that intro for us. You know, gotta give. I'm gonna have to cash app Tam. I had the cash app Tam. Let's see who all is joined. The first show was fire. Appreciate you there. I guess I should click from here actually, so I don't have to keep looking over there. That first show was informative. You're welcome, Queen Lee. How you doing? Yes, let's talk about these government contracts. That's what you do. Which free? I'm not sure which area you're in on the government contracts. This could probably go be a little bit more on the technical side today, but I just wanted to get some things out. While we want to sniff some things out. Now, I also wanted to highlight some stuff that Eric has done as well too. So people have references as well, but again, this is just more or less like, okay, here's how to make some money. Here's where you can utilize your tech skills in order to make some money. So we're going to be going down some technical stuff today, and some not so technical. All right. But first things first, how do I want to start? Let's open up because I think you all see this that comes inside of the Slack. And let me get my screen share going here. Um, and then let's go over some contracts. And I'm gonna put my glasses on here. So I pull these from our Slack and things that I researched. Okay. So we see here that Booz Allen Hamilton is launching $100 million um, venture venture on focus on early stage startups, right? So what does that mean to you? So they're actually doing a venture where they're bringing startups and their ideas in for the government and actually doing investment for them. This is new. Haven't really, you see this, but you see this on like maybe the DARPA side. And when I talk about DARPA, I'm talking about DARPA contracts here, where you can go to DARPA .mil, and they look at you can look at contracts, right? So say you have a company or you want to form a company or you have an idea that you want to present to the government. It doesn't have to always be about missiles and so forth. You could be presenting to the government that you have a brand of toilet tissue that may be cheaper for them to buy. You could say, "Hey, we offer supplies for uh, different locations." You could be offering delivery of services or parts or something of that nature. It's not all technical when it comes down to government contracting. We're just going to focus on the technical because we are a technical show. All right. But back to DARPA, here, Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency. Advanced Research Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, right? And here, DARPA contract offers CMO has the authority to enter into and administer contracts, grants, cooperative agreements, and other transactions called OTAs, other transactions in pursuit of DARPA's research and development mission. The CMO's role is to serve as DARPA's acquisition advisor and makes awards and select critical technology areas. Most DARPA awards are entered into on behalf of the agency by military services who assist DARPA with technology transition to the warfighter. So we got opportunities, we have unsolicited proposals, we have grants and cooperative agreements, other transaction, solicitation and contracting policy and procedures and justification and approval documents. Sometimes the government is looking for somebody to find housing for people. Sometimes they're looking for apartments. Sometimes they're looking for land. Sometimes they're looking for a data center. Sometimes they're looking for someone to help build out a data center. Sometimes they're looking for someone to help build out a skill. So they're looking for someone to cut the grass. Um, Government contracting goes into so many different lanes. Again, when we're talking about even under government contracting, to bring over what we talked about earlier is how do you set up your taxation for these government contractors? Are you a LLC? Are you a LLC with an S corp or C corp? Are you setting yourself up where you are maybe a subcontractor? Maybe you're not a prime. Maybe you're a subcontractor to something. There's so many different ways to skin a cat, right? That cat is well skinned in my book, and I have the funds to take care of it. Q4, I'm gonna keep skinning cats, and I already got money set aside for that. All right. So opportunities, if we click on opportunities, most of DARPA solicitations are research and development and are accomplished through BAAs, what we call broad agency announcements, announcing research interests, including criteria for selecting proposal and soliciting the participation of all offerers capable of satisfying government needs. Now, with that being said, you will see some colleges fall under BAAs because they may do some research on something. You may find other different companies may be doing research and they're presenting something to the government. So again, we're, there are different types of contract vehicles that one could fall under for this. We are focusing on the technical side, in particular, cloud, Linux, DevSecOps. We're going to talk about that, supercomputing, and so forth, right? And then here they give a little bit more explanation of unsolicited proposal, grants and cooperative agreements, Other transactions, OTs, technology, like the two most common types of OTs are technology investment agreements, TIAs, and other transactions for prototypes, right? When are OTs used? Companies and organizations that do not do business with the government but have or are conducting research on technology that could have DoD applications or ideal candidates for OTs. Other entities such as traditional defense contractors or universities may also benefit from the use of OTs as award vehicle under circumstances detailed below. And they go a little bit more to it, and I won't go all into these right here because you can see it goes on forever. I'm not going to get into all that. I'm just putting out there what the possibilities are. I'll drop this link. Maybe I'll do it in the description. I don't know. I should drop it now because I'm not sure about how to add it back to the description. So I'll just drop it now when we're talking about DARPA. All right. All right. So let's get back to what we were discussing. Right. So Booz Allen Hamilton launches $100 million corporate venture on focus on early stage startups. Booz Allen Hamilton, BAH is what we usually call them. The Virginia-based defense-focused IT consulting firm today announced the launch of a corporate venture capital arm, Booz Allen Ventures. They will initially put 100 million towards strategic, defensive, and offensive technology. The move signals Booz Allen's desire to shape startups in areas it considers aligned with its core business, mainly AI, machine learning, defense, and cybersecurity. I don't know how many times I keep telling you that AI, machine learning, and security are going to be your breadwinners. And in underneath all of that is Linux and cloud and automation. They all roll together. They're all the cousins of each other. They all are friends of each other. You're going to all see these things. Brian McCarthy, Booz Allen's VP of Ventures, said that the new fund will invest primarily in early stage seed, meaning we're just getting started. But we got a good idea here. We might have got an investment already. Somebody investing into us, but we're not really there. Then you got Series A and then Series B. Companies that build on Booz Allen existing tech scouting program. So they have a tech scouting program, and we'll go off and deep dive into that, which connects with entrepreneurs to vet emerging security technologies. Through the tech scouting, Booz Allen has recently backed firms including Latent AI, whose technology compresses AI models. I guess Syntactic, a data generating platform, and I guess Reveal technology, which performs analytics on aerial data. I'm flying a plane, I'm taking pictures, I want to do analytics on this. Now, this is going to come up later in something that is actually happening right now. We already saw that Azure is running out of resources for the data centers that they have. Some are chip resources, some are just not enough capacity has been built out, right? So they're losing money when they don't have that. So how do we scale that, right? And then from a Microsoft perspective, and what does that look like? And then on the other end of this is there's not enough edge computing resources that the government can get their hands on, so they can stay ahead of the curve, right? In addition to capital, Booz Allen Ventures backed companies will gain access to Booz Allen executive and engineering teams as well as clients. McCarthy elaborate. Participants will be provided strategic support in the form of potential contracts with Booz Allen. So pretty much like a show and tell, right? Our tech scouting program gives us a unique insight about where opportunities for hyper growth exist, but anticipating opportunity insufficient. I'm gonna pause right there because a lot of you are probably asking, what does this have to do with me? This has to do with your skill set. So you may be partnered with someone, or you may be on a small company that needs help on how to scale. Maybe you have maybe you have insights into how to communicate these technical things to people who are not technical, right? Maybe you have the insight that you got a friend or someone you know over there that can get you in the door to certain places. Remember, all skill sets are needed when we're talking about wealth accumulation and also company driven wealth accumulation, right? And I say that from the perspective of you may get in a company and you may be at 200,000, but then they may say, hey, as a director, if you go out and get us some contracts or something of that nature, we'll give you up to 10% of the overall contract as your bonus. So maybe you go out and you secure a $2 million contract. They may give you 10% of that. Some places give 3%. But then this is how you're making your skill sets and your money work for you while you're at the job, and also while you're also making your skill sets work for you. You're gaining new skill sets. You're gaining a new network. You're gaining how to create opportunities as well too. So it doesn't have to always be where you're just there being the worker bee. You could be the worker bee with gaining assets and skill sets and so forth, right? So just another way to look at it. We need to deploy capital to move at a digital speed. McCarthy, Vice President of Tech Scouting and Ventures of Booz Allen. Booz Allen Venture also, allows us to actively bridge the gap between opportunity and capability and accelerate the services to to solutions transformation, right? So you could be working on a patent, you could be working with somebody to build out something, you could be just working on it by yourself, you could be working with a company. It all depends, right? It all depends. If you got an idea, no idea is a dumb idea, right? How are you My key word that I always push back on everyone is execution. How are you going to execute, right? Outside the fund, like Shield Capital, which has a Defense Department connections, traditional venture firms are often reluctant to invest in defense-oriented startups, given both the ethical implications and the long pathway to profitability. It typically takes 18 months of planning before a government contractor wins its first contract. 18 months. Now, where does that 18 months come from? That's based on data, that's based on timing, response, relationships, who are you talking to, and so forth. By the time you see a contract awarded, they had already been in the pipeline for it. By the time you see the actual proposal for someone to respond, they had already had someone in mind. So, how do you get in the room? How do you get yourself in the room, and what does that look like? That's the question you have to ask. And you don't need a security clearance to respond to a government contract. You need work ethic, you need a team, you need to understand the flow, you need to have business or deal flow, as I like to call it, and you need to make sure that's something that your team has set up, and communication with your team, right? Um, it also says corporated programs provide an alternative. Booz Allen Venture joins Lockheed Martin Ventures, Horizon X, which sprung off from Boeing in August of 2021. So I just gave you three people where you could present your ideas automatically as a startup for government contracting, where you're not taking the traditional route where you're going to sam.gov. I think it's changed now, but you're going to sam.gov and applying for looking at proposals and then responding to them or answering questions, whatever that may look like. BAAs, OTs, OTAs, so forth and so on, right? So here's a one way: Booz Allen Ventures, Lockheed Martin Venture, and then Horizon X. Defense focused startups angling for government contracts need all the help they can get. There was an article that I read earlier this year where a couple, a few guys got together and they were going after utilizing startups to go after defense contracting, government contracts, and they were estimating it to be at 1 trillion. They were estimating the wins to be at 1 trillion. So you tell me which side of the coin you want to be on. Do you want to be the worker bee? Do you want to be the worker bee that got incentives, or do you want to be at the startup where you're actually getting where you're actually maybe getting equity out of that as a startup, or RSUs? Depends on how you see yourself. That depends on how you want things to flow, right? Don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button, right? When we're talking about this, drop a one in the chat if you like what you hear so far. Drop a one in the chat if you like what you hear so far. All right, drop a one. All right. So when we're looking at this, we have to be mindful of, that we want to be able to say, we have options. And what do those options look like for us? What do those options look like for us? Where do we see ourselves? Where are we going with this? Right? Right? That's another revenue stream. Another revenue stream. This is another revenue stream. All right. So let's get back to it. Defense focused startups angling for government contracts need all the help they can get, except accepting um, breakouts like Anduril and Plantier, Plantier. Most contracts are awarded to incumbents, meaning they have past performance. They have a relationship with them. They know who they are. More than 95% of Booz Allen, nearly 8 billion in revenue, comes from government contracting. And any startup that gets a foot in the door has to bridge the gap between R&D phase and contract award. But even founders willing to ingratiate themselves with the defense industry, are sometimes reluctant to accepting funding from corporate arms. They point to onerous terms and conditions and commercial arrangements that they try to protect exclusivity or future options to buy their startups technology outright. Thank you for coming along, showing us what you have. Let's go ahead and snatch that from you. Thank you so much. Keep on about your business. We'll take that. Right? And they got the money to do it. Perhaps as a result of those misgivings, defense focused corporate funds have invested relatively little capital over the years. For example, Lockheed Martin has pledged only around 200 million towards startups since 2007. As of 2020, Horizon X, which was founded in 2017, has made just 25 investments with 10 million. Now, here's the other thing too. Sometimes it depends on who's on your team, right? When we're talking about who gets access to what networks and government data, and then what that looks like. It'll be incumbent on Booz Allen Ventures to show that it's not looking to snuff out or absorb startups for the benefit of its corporate parent, right? And that's just one aspect, right? 100 million. You're a startup, or you're creating. Again, they're looking at C, Series A, Series B is what they're looking for, right? All right, so let's get into it. Close that one out. Let's get into this one. The DoD awards $699 million contract to support supercomputing resource centers. 699 million. 699 million. All right. Which end of that contract do you want to be on? Free, which end of that contract you want to be on? Where are you at, Free? Where you at? All right. DoD awards 699 million contract to support supercomputing resource centers. The Pentagon has awarded to BAE a 5 year, $699 million contract to supply a variety of services and capabilities to bolster high performance computing. I keep telling y'all about high performance computing, HPC. I keep saying that is another set of skills, another route to go. HPC. How do we get there? How do we get into high performance computing? I went over this, but we're going to do it again for the people in the back that didn't hear me. HPC, high performance computing, right? So, first thing you can type in is high performance computing and then conference. Here we go. You see a ton comes up. You see a ton of information comes up, right? 2021 AI and high performance computing by I guess Exacta Corp or exactcorp.com, right? We have TWI.org, right? The TWI San Diego Conference Data and Analytics Conference, HPE, High Performance Computing from HP, HIPC High Performance Computing. Let's click on that one, and then we'll look at the supercomputing one as well too, right under that. So when I talk about conferences and getting exposure to them and getting being in the room, here's an opportunity for you to be in the room just to see who's there, to see who's networking with who, what companies are there. You can even look at the sponsorships and so forth. But let's go and look at it. We got one coming up in December from December the 18th to 2021 in Bangalore, India. And then you can see who's on that one. All right, so let's go back up and we'll look at the steering committee. All right, and let's just look at the names on the steering committee and where they come from. Right, look at the names: Honeywell, Google, Applied Materials, University of Texas Austin, KLA AI Advanced Computing Lab out of India. You see this, right? You see these, right? You got call for paper, call for proposals, committee, and home. Let's go to archives. And let's go back. You see this 2020. Let's go to 2020. I mean 2022. Let's go to 2021. If it'll go. It's slow to load. Somebody go, it's right here then. Okay, that's all in India. You got some people out of Southern California and so forth. And then they had a conference information is there too. So let's go back right here. That's what IEEE, right? Here we got supercomputing.org. Supercomputing.org. The International Conference for High Performance Computing, Networking, Storage, and Analysis is coming up in November from the 13th to the 18th, looks like. They got first timers. Welcome to the community. The SC conference is sending a warm welcome to first timers attendees since 1988. And since then, we've grown to host thousands of individuals at our conferences. SC20 was our first fully virtual conference, and SC21 supported on-site and remote participation, right? And then they go on to talk about students and mentors, the exhibits that they're gonna have. Here's the program that they're gonna have: workshops, a job fair, a tour, a student cluster competition, lead student volunteers, HPC immersion schedule. They got panels and so forth, right? So that's just one conference. That's this is second conference reviewed. ISC, high performance computing. All right. ISC is another one. Their program, ISC is focused on performance is focused on bringing the most critical developments and trends in HPC, machine learning, and high performance data analytics to conference attendees. Right, and here they have there's some of their chair people who are their sponsors: Intel, Nvidia, SVA, Oracle, AMD, Dell, Fujitsu, Supermicro, right? Lavino, HP, HPE, I should say, right? And then you have your registration and then your travel and stay. It's in Hamburg, is where it's at, right? Hamburg, Germany, right? Hamburg, Germany. So again, how do you get experience with high performance computing? What does that look like? Yep, there are classes posted in there. There's stuff posted in the Slack group as well. My team does consulting. So far, we're overall, excuse me, over all industries. I specialize in construction and IT. Correct. All right, cool. All right. So again, we're talking about 699 million from BAE. So now the question is, who's going to sub to BAE? Who's going to help them with with those contracts? What type of work are they looking for? Would they be looking for with those contracts? So let's close this out. Yeah, I went over DARPA. We'll come back to that. Here we go. The national security focused scientists and engineers conduct a broad range of research and development, testing, and other activities via the Defense Department's High Performance Computing Modernization Program. The newly awarded contract will provide Defense Supercomputing Resource Center operations, maintenance, and management services in several U.S. regions. That means there are going to be some jobs. It means there are going to be some jobs. That means somebody's going to need to know some things, right? So you may have a company that you create where you are hiring people for those jobs. You're filling positions, or maybe you go in and maybe you're not filling positions. Maybe you're actually working on the project. Maybe you're leading on the project, right? Maybe you're leading on the project. All right, so it says the program is managed by the Army Engineer Research and Development (ERDC). The program's growing network of supercomputers enable the Pentagon officials to process massive amount of volumes of data quickly to aid a variety of initiatives such as designing cutting-edge military weapons, simulating weather patterns, and more. The contract will provide services to the five DSRCs such as system administration and program support. The Envision services may enable specialized analysis of software support for specialized programs. You may be creating some software. You may be creating. You may be analyzing some software they have and maybe tweaking it. Right. We will not be getting any specialized digital infrastructure. He noted. The five centers are here's the location: the Army Proving Ground, Miami, Maui, AFRL up in Wrights Patterson S4 Base in Ohio, Vicksburg, Mississippi, Army of Corporate Engineers and Navy. So that sounds like free, and you can tell me if I'm wrong or not. It sounds like you need to be probably contacting some folks, and it also sounds like you need to have these locations on your list and look and start looking for people and start looking for contracts. I don't know how many of y'all get calls all the time from people like, hey, uh, Raytheon is looking to fill this position, but they be a third party. It don't be directly from Raytheon. They're gonna get a cut off of you. They're gonna take a bite out of your skill set. They're gonna take a bite out of your proposal. So say you want to work on a particular contract. Somebody call you and they say they can offer you 120 an hour. 9 times out of 10, they're not gonna charge that back to the customer at 120. Your 120 is gonna get included in that, and then they're gonna add on something to that. Usually, I think it's 1.5 times or 2.5 times. I think it's 2.5 times the amount. So they're gonna make money off of you regardless. They're gonna make money off of you. You need to know your worth. What's your hour of time worth to you? All right, we look forward to working with BAE to deliver high-end computing services, defense science, technology, test, evaluation, and acquisition. So if I was a person and I was looking for work, I will be looking in these locations for BAE. If I want to work on supercomputers, I will be looking in these locations, and I'll be also maybe getting my people to be ready to be deployed to those locations to do work. All right, so I can make money off of my people and also give them benefits as well too. But I'm also in the contracting game, right? So this is just another way, like follow the breadcrumbs where people are at. You should have already had a relationship with BAE in order to do that, right? You want to have a relationship with them, right? Make sense? Let me know. All right. Now this has been going on for a very long time. This right here. The FBI is preparing for complete network infrastructure refresh. That's been going on for a while. So let's get into this. The FBI wants equipment manufacturers to detail their latest routers, switches, firewalls, and other networking devices as it prepares for a bureau-wide infrastructure technology refresh. The request for information, the RFI, posted earlier this month. The FBI plans to introduce intelligence agencies as part of its digital transformation effort, Network Enterprise Redesign Initiative, NER. And we'll look at that RFI here in a minute. The FBI previously issued the RFI in August of 2019 to help it set software defined networking SDN requirements and wants to know if any changes to the SD WAN or the SD LAN and Wi-Fi may impact NERI. So and it goes on a little bit more about that, but let's go look at this RFI because this is what you'll be responding to. Can I get it? Do I need to log in? No. Okay. All right, cool. So July 7th, the original response date, original inactive date, all dates marked, blah, blah, blah. August the 5th. August the 5th, right? These are the NACS codes that it falls under. You're going to need your capability statement as well, too. That's the NACS code that falls under 541, 519. And here we go. The FBI seeks responses from OEM manufacturers of network equipment for evaluation for state of the art network devices to include routers, switches, firewalls, and other networking devices to support FBI network infrastructure technology refresh for digital transformation to an advanced, intelligent, and active architecture. The FBI issued a previous RFI August the 13th of 2019. So, like I said, it's been open for a while. This RFI will review responses and solution viability to the requirements to inform future actions and strategies. All responses shall comply with the instructions contained in the attached document. No extensions will be granted. Questions shall be addressed to H NICE. I was going to say HNIC E. HNICE. That's what it looked like to me. FBI.gov and AJ Stickley at FBI.gov. Right before July 14th of 2019. I think this. We can go up here and track changes. Oh, they don't have. Do I need to log in to track the changes? Probably. All right. So here's the PDF. All right. What they looking for? What they got? What they have? Um, Let me see. It was one. What was it? I forget where it was at. It was a blank canvas. Um, Here's the capabilities that they want to maintain. And then here's a general compliance requirement for the hardware. All right. So this is just gives you an overview of what you will be looking at and what you'll be responding to. All right. So that's all on that one. Let me make sure we didn't leave out anything. No, we didn't leave out anything. Cool. All right. Did we do this one? No. Army Awards, Lockheed Martin, next phase of critical cyber, EW, and Intel platform. In my head is Greg N-I-C in my head. Greg Nice is in my head. The Army was awarded Lockheed Martin a $58.8 million contract for the next phase effort to pave the way for the 1st Brigade Organic Cyber Electronic Warfare and Signals Intelligence platform to be delivered to soldiers. Right? The Terrestrial Layer System Brigade, or TLS BCT, is a striker mounted system that will provide indications and warning for force protection and situational awareness, as well as offensive capabilities to deny, degrade, and disrupt adversary systems. The system is expected to begin fielding to units in fiscal year of 2022. The award was delivered via an OTA, other transaction authority, another vehicle agreement that runs through October of 2023. According to Army press release, through the OTA, Lockheed Martin will provide prototypes integrated on strikers, ready for operational assessments and issued to a first unit. In September 2021, Army awarded a second round of contract worth 9.6 million to Lockheed Martin to develop the system. Right. Again, you see down here the Army budget documents. The service asked for 88.9 million in procurement dollars in fiscal 2023. And you keep seeing these. You're gonna keep seeing these numbers get larger and larger. We've seen them. You've seen the $10 billion contract for cloud services and so forth. Let me read the comments and see what's going on in here. If we get that contract, we will be speaking to you from your private jet. He ain't getting on a private jet. He gonna get on a tractor somewhere in the country somewhere. He's not. He ain't getting on no private jet. All right. So let's look at the next one. All right. So what I did was I went through here and I looked at the latest government contract awards. Right. Amerisource Bergen wins a $6 billion contract to support DHH's TRICARE. General Dynamic wins $908 million contract for IT for network support. Spire Global, two other companies to provide space weather data under NOAA's contract, right? Space weather data. Let me see if they got some numbers in here. They don't have any numbers. They just got some years. The study will run for 12 months and so forth. I'm working on some stuff now as a contractor as well too. Right? Some other stuff. Lockheed Martin, the 59 million. Elbit System Books, 660 million for intelligence tech supply. Has secured a potential 14-year, $660 million contract to supply a European customer with intelligence systems. The company said Wednesday it will provide maintenance and support to unnamed client over a 10-year period as part of the deal. Last month, the Israeli defense contractor reported a repair It reported a pair of contracts with a combined 768 million for delivery of combat network systems and airborne, I guess, munition guidance system, guidance kits. All right. Let's go back. Spacesuit, 73 million. Wide point for Coast Guard. Oshkosh receives it's not Oshkosh, Oshkosh Bagosh. Not that one. Raytheon wins 350 more, 54 million. 578 million for it looks like a follow on. I guess in Maserat books, 578 follow-on contract for the military SEAL Lift Command Fleet Satcom modernization, 578 million. How y'all like these numbers? Are these numbers okay? Are they not enough? We need billions. What are we thinking? What I'm saying is don't sleep on your technical skills to be a consultant or form a company that goes after contracts, whether it's a learning platform, whether it's a and sometimes you say a subcontractor, but maybe you can be a do business development, or you be a guide, right? You just be a consultant and you just help guide along the process, right? All right, so here's another one that I found for listing out. These are smaller numbers, right? 4K, 45.9K, 100, I mean 19.8K, 38K, 38.5K, right? A little smaller number. Parking spaces for two government owned vehicles at 13.2 thousand. Surgical implants, 24. Um, Statistical modeling services, 30K, right? Um, let's see, obligate and disperse funds for Tucson and Indian Center, Opera 2B mental health something, 334.7K. Mail sorter help desk services, 40K, 40.5K, right? Again, when we're talking about contracts, it could be a number of things. It could be a number of things. It doesn't have to be the big ones. It's small contracts over time is past performance. Every time you get something, it's past performance. We want past performance, right? It may be sometimes you don't go out and do it on your own. You get on with somebody else that and sub to them and get yourself some past performance, right? So past performance can look a lot of ways, right? Could come from a lot of different ways. All right, so that's on that. All right, so we talked about contract management. The OTA I didn't dive into, but let me pull my notes up so I can make sure that we are going through everything that I want to go through here. All right, another big thing, here it is right here. I talked about it. So now the question is, what solution are you going to come up with to help them? And go back and present it to DARPA as a research, so you can get research, or go present it to one of the venture funds as research and a potential possibility, right? That you could solve, right? Let's look at this as well too, right? So this came out May 12th of last year. I kind of went over on tech stocks and jobs a while back. Arquit raising 400 million with a SPAC to launch quantum encryption satellites in 2023. Quantum encryption satellites in 2023. All right. The British quantum technology encryption startup Arquit is raising 400 million. Now I hear startup and I hear they raise 400 million. I'm going to go see what kind of jobs they have. I'm going to go see what kind of skill sets do I need, right? That's what I'm going to go look at. I'm going to go look at how can I get in, right? That's what I'm looking at. All right. So the fundraising comes as the FBI investigates a ransomware attack that closed U.S. pipeline, providing a significant portion of gasoline and fuel to the East Coast, highlighting a need to bolster cyber defenses. Right. The Arquitz merger with Centris, I guess Centrius, Acquisition Corporation, a publicly traded SPAC, values the combined group at 1.4 billion. Right. This makes Arquette the first space company unicorn, a company valued more than 1 billion to emerge from the UK. Right. It's the first of many of the few. Right. And then so I got the looking into, I'm not gonna read all of this, too much to read for right now. I got to looking at this, right, and I start looking up stuff, and I came across this here. Um, it's called Space Chain. Space Chain. Let me blow that up. Space Chain is building an open source neural infrastructure for the new space economy by integrating space and blockchain technologies. Right. Our vision to remove barriers and allow global community to access and collaborate in space. Space Change also offers space as a service for modern business, enabling companies to explore and realize the great potential of space and blockchain. Right? You want to know where blockchain comes in at? You want to know where quantum comes in at? Here it is. We're going to talk about quantum computing next week. I actually have a quantum computer uh, guy coming on. His name is Rick Nelson. He got his PhD in quantum computing. We're going to talk quantum computing next week, and we're going to talk about all the different locations where quantum computing is at. How can you get in on it? How can you get other students in on it as well too? What does that look like overall? Right? Is there more research being done? It should you formulate someone and help them do research, and again auditing that research. Right? That's another job. Right? Here they say if you want to get involved, whether you're a blockchain or crypto enthusiast, developer, investor, student, or space enthusiast, there are many ways you can get involved with Space Chain. Join us, SPC token, smart contract space change token, space chain token model, trade SPC. Here's the locations, here's wallets and so forth. So again, if you want to get into it just from an investment standpoint, it's possible. You could do that, right? Just bringing out the light of it. If you don't want to do that and you want to go get present an idea or work with them, you can do that, or you can do both, right? You can do both. They also have a blog, spacechain.com. The blog didn't come up, or it's coming up. They need a faster web browser. I mean, a faster endpoint. Oh, look, yeah, they just got updates, so they probably send it to you in the email, right? Send it to you in the email. All right, so now let's go back over here and look at see Space Chain, edge computing capability for system space. We talk. Did we talk about that? Let me look. Let me make sure. I think I did. So, oh yeah, the Pentagon faces a shortage of edge computing. Oh, that's it right here. Oh, capability for space systems. The Department of Defense wants to leverage artificial intelligence and AI and edge computing for satellite communication, but today's systems have shortcomings. Artificial intelligence and space technology are critical for enabling the Pentagon's vision. All right. Fundamentally, I would like to use the edge devices to do most of the AI compute. Lisa Costa, Chief Technology and Innovation Officer for Space Force, said Monday during a panel of virtual space innovation summit And I don't think you all be looking at these things that when Fed Scoop come in there, hop over there and look and see what other tidbits are in there and start signing up for stuff so you can start creating companies, so you can start hiring talent, so you can start taking the skill sets that you do have and looking at contracts. You don't have to just do contracts only. You could probably do some side work for freelancing and so forth, right? Again, just throwing potential ideas out there. Do I do some of them? Yes, I do. I do. Fundamentally, I would like to use the edge devices to do most of the AI computing. So what does that look like? How do we solve for that? Now you have to remember that most assets that we put up into space don't have storage nor compute power, right? So you still have to move the data to algorithms. Basically, the data you're gonna have to move it off somewhere, but I would like not to have it on the ground and then have to move everything up into space. So I'm going from here and up. We don't want to do that. We just want to launch and I'm there and I'm doing my thing and I got a connection back. So again, how do we solve for this? And I keep tell you, edge computing is going to be huge. High performance computing is going to be big. We're going to see that. We're going to crunch numbers. We're going to do analysis on data. We talked about the Monte Carlo when we talk about our 401ks and our estate planning. What does that look like, right? So a crunching of data. Infrastructure is never going to go anywhere. It is a job that you're going to have a lifetime. So get skills around that if you want. Analysis of data is never going anywhere. We're put it like this: we're never not going to have data. You tell me what industry don't have data? Even NASCAR has data. How fast? How much time around the lap? How quick are they changing tires and getting the gas and getting them back out? Those things are data is going to be forever, and data has to have a place to live. And it not only does it have a place to live, it has to have compute. You have to have compute resources in order to do an analysis on that data. Infrastructure is never going anywhere. Now, what you do with infrastructure is going to change. That's different. All right. The next thing they stated here, Lindsay Miller, Principal Director for Space in the Office of Undersecretary of Defense and Research Engineering, said AI and machine learning are huge priorities. We're looking at it. We're looking at what we're looking at is how do we balance compute or on the ground versus compute at the edge. And what I mean by that is what do we do or what do we do to leverage our incredible cloud architectures that and have on the ground to inform. So here I hear things like Azure Stack, AWS Outposts, but not at a massive scale, but at a smaller scale and durable, right? The crate has to be durable. It has to be able to survive, right? That's what I see. I already told you they building Wi-Fi on the moon. What makes you think they're not going to have edge computing in space and be able to talk directly to the satellites and so on? We already do that now, but I don't have to come all the way back to the ground to do that. I can stay in space to do that, right? Trust in our ability to flash an FPGA field programmable gate array on orbit and not have that bricked. In other words, it don't work. I did something, I put FIPS on it, I bricked it, and it's just up there, just sitting up there brick, not doing nothing. It's just a waste of space and time. It's also something we're looking at. She said, what is the balance between what we can do on the ground versus on orbit? And how do we make sure that we can accurately update that on orbit if our mission changes for a particular satellites? Right. And they go on in this. I won't read all of this, but you get the idea of where they're going and what they're looking for and what type of people looking for. Drop in the chat the type of skill sets that you think you would need to have in order to, one, maybe create an edge device, two, learn how to use an edge device, and then three, how to secure an edge device. Drop in the chat based upon those parameters and maybe other parameters you came up with. Security of that edge device, creating that edge device, having the right amount of storage and flexibility around storage as well too. And then last but not least, how do you see yourself working on such a project like this, and what kind of skill sets do you think you would need? Drop in the chat your thoughts there while I pull up everything else. All right. Let me make sure I got everything I want to talk about on there. Yeah, you did that. Mm, I'm done. Oh, okay. Here we go. Here we go. I didn't bring this over. All right. The Navy tests manned and unmanned teaming technology with Super Hornets and drones. The Navy is, pull that back up so you can read that. And I also need to get me some water. 1 second, folks. 1 second. 1 second. I need to get some water. All right. So again, Navy tests manned and unmanned teaming technology with Super Hornets and drones. Okay. All right. So now let's go look at it. This came out on the 15th of July. The Navy and the industry partners recently conducted several flights and tests and demonstrated the ability of manned FA-18 Super Hornet fighter jets to team with unmanned aerial vehicles, UVAs. The Pentagon views manned and unmanned teaming between piloted and autonomous drones, also known as robotic wingmen, as a key component of future warfare, and the Navy is trying to put the technology through its paces. You don't think there are people out there that are sitting there just got these skills and just and how to program them and learning as they fly, the algorithm is adjusting and so forth. There's going to always be a skill set for that. It's going to always be a skill set for some automation and edge computing and high performance computing. Data, because you said Linux, SQL, problem solving, data engineering, how to move data back and forth securely. All of that is a part of this. And if you have a company that you can center around it and help bring solutions and or even maintain what they already have, there is a government contract out there for you. We're just talking, you're taking your skill sets, putting it together, creating a business around it, being able to respond, be a subcontractor, know, network with people, know people, show up at the conferences, the different networking conferences for government contracting. Get in touch with your people, right? Have a cap statement, the whole nine. I'm not going to give you a whole course lecture. That's what Eric Coffee is for. I'm just giving you what your technical skills could look like, how much money is out there, how to get yourself together in order to go after some of these government contracts. And in some cases, you may not go after the contracts at all. People just call you up and like, hey, I know you can do this work. Can you work on this for the next 8 months? We'll pay you $300 an hour to work on this for the next 8 months. We need for you to help us out. Can you do that? You got to say yes or no. You can then turn around and say, okay, well, I'm gonna do this, and maybe you contract somebody out, or maybe they call you and they say, hey, I know your company has these skill sets. Can you get us 10 people on here to do X, Y, and Z work? This is what we need, and you go and you just be part of hiring people, and people call it butts and seats, but that is a thing that people do, right? So it's government contracting is international. It's not just in DC as well too, but it's international, right? It's international. We got locations in Belgium. We got locations in Australia. We got locations in Japan. We got government contracting is everywhere, right? And so when we look at these things, you have to look at what skill sets can you use? Can you help with hiring? Can you help with diversity and inclusion? Can you help with research? Can you help with government, not necessarily government auditing, but making sure that the companies that are working, that want to work with the government, meet a certain standard, and you may be the person that help them meet that standard, right, with an audit or what have you. So again, thinking outside the box of where your government contracting and your skill sets can all meet. We all have our things that we can use. Let me see. That was the FBI. We did that. We did the 699. Let me get my mouse over here. We looked at Booz Allen. We looked at the shortage they faced, space change, the 400 million. Um, mm, mm, Let me see. I don't think we looked at this, but I don't think it's along the lines of what I wanted to talk about. It may switch the topic, but let's find out. Oh, yeah, yeah. All right, so this lends to something I was looking at as a potential solution, right, for government contracting, right? Some of the things that they're having, right? Accelerate AI and machine and AI and ML with a new IPU based cloud platform by G Core Labs and GraphCore, right? More and more businesses are looking to implement artificial intelligence and machine learning into their processes and solutions, right? Um, the first obstacle is getting the right IT infrastructure in place. AI requires processing power, storage, and more to support it. So the edge computing problem that they're having with machine learning and AI in space, they're having the same problem with processing power, storage, probably some networking issues as well too, right? It is probably a ton of issues that they're having. But how do we solve for that? How do you think outside the box to solve for that? What solution could you come up with for that? Right? Again, get patents on it. Your intellectual property may not pay off right now, but it could pay off in 18 months, as we saw the time it takes to get awarded a contract. And so in 18 months, you could be sitting on 100 million. You could be sitting on 20 million. You could be sitting on 50,000. You could be sitting on 100,000. It depends on what vehicle you go after and what agency you go after. You want to go with the agencies that they're making the most, and the contractors that are pulling down the most money, right? And there are ways you could tell that. FPDS is another way. There's also another site that you can use to see who's pulling down what the most in government contracting and in a particular field of government contracting, right? That's why G Core Labs, an international provider of cloud and edge solutions, has launched a new AI infrastructure as a service solution within its cloud platform. The AI cloud is designed to support businesses of all sizes across every stage of AI adoption. The cloud infrastructure includes powerful bare metal graph core intelligence processing units. So let's go. I wonder how big it is, and could they be a solution to work with some of the edge computing stuff? Could someone do business development at this particular company to go, if the company wants to go, and maybe gets to be their moral background, for someone to go work at that particular location, right? That could be something. Engineering cancer. Hey, what of the government contracts that train people from minority neighborhoods to high tech skills? They're already out there. There's a ton of them out there. It's a ton of them out there. So it's a ton of them out there. Like it's a ton of those companies that are already existed out there across the United States that train people. Hell, I train people on that. It's a ton of them. Start with AI architecture, then focus on the GPU. There are new architecture that can run worth fewer processor speed. Yep. And lots of integrated tools and resources to make developing AI applications easier for developers and data scientists across finance, fintech, e-commerce, and game development. Right, hitting everything. And the government is looking to get into gaming too and gamify things. They do that already. They do that already. Let's take a closer look at some reasons the AI infrastructure as a service is the future of AI and ML. Preparing and storing data, build notebooks and accelerate the ML lifecycle, build ML models backed up by powerful graph core hardware. And that was it. I didn't want to get into each one, each little individual. I just wanted to get a highlight and overview of that, right? Let me make sure I didn't leave out anything here. Let me look. CBS venture issues. All right. I didn't. I don't think I did this one. I might have. Uh, yeah, I did. EW and Intel. Yep, I did that one. 58.5. 58.8, I mean. Mm-mm. I'm just looking. Hold on. Mm. Okay, I cover all of that. Now, are there any questions? I'm gonna drop the link, but I do have other stuff. But I'm gonna just drop the link in case you got questions right now. Um, and if you want to come up, right? So dropping the link in case you got questions right now. It all depends on how you look at yourself. So I'm gonna keep going because I do have some other stuff I want to share as well too. So um Eric Coffey is who I follow, but I follow a ton of people on government contracting as well too. All right. I follow a ton of people on government contracting. So let me pull this book. I see the super chat. Let me just post this link and then I read the super chat. All right. All right, so there's the book posted. So let me pull this up here. Hi, when I need a pick me up to remind me there's more opportunity in life out there, I come to your channel. And here you are every week, relentlessly reminding us that thank you for always showing up. I appreciate you, HI, or I'm gonna say hi in this case. I appreciate your 1999 super chat, man. I'm glad we're just here to support and provide you a pick me up. We may not be Folgers, but we at least present you with opportunities, how to get to those opportunities, who to talk to who's already in the space and doing it, and how can you see yourself in this space doing it as well too. I just want people to realize that you don't have to always be in one lane in order to do things. You can be in multiple lanes in order to do things. And on Binary Hustlers tomorrow, we'll be talking about that as well. D posted the link on the last show. Let me go try to find the link for Binary Hustlers so you all can have that as well. And we could see you in attendance tomorrow for Binary Hustlers. Um, Here we go. Here we go. That's for the show tomorrow. Our other channel with Binary Hustlers. I'm actually going to be reviewing probably two or three people for Binary Hustlers tomorrow. One is 11 streams of income at 75,000 a week. Another one is a couple of people that I have found that I would like to highlight. I think it's important just to show different ways. And then we're gonna break down some stuff. I'm gonna do some due diligence tonight so we can speed the show up. So I don't do the breakdown in real time. I'll have my notes because I have a meeting at 1 o'clock and then a meeting at 2 o'clock. So I can't stay on too long. I may push the show up to 10:30 or 10 o'clock. I don't know. I have to get some rest though, right? Um, Tech Data Christian with your emojis, right? Right. And don't forget to hit like and subscribe. We appreciate you. We appreciate everyone. Right. All right. So I posted this book. This is Eric Coffey's book, The $1 Billion Playbook: 72 Websites for Massive Scaling in the Federal Marketplace. He came out with this in 2017. He also has another book that he came out with in 2020, right? Where he talks about GovCon launch, right? GovCon launch, a complete guide to launching your government contracting business. This came out in October of 2020. It's $5.99. It's free, $5.99 on Kindle, free on audiobook, and paperback is $12.95. Right. All right. And let's read a little bit about it here, and so you can get an idea. The government and all of its respective agencies are at war or in a war to spend more and more money with policies like use it or lose it and our military industrial complex. It's no wonder why we have been on a spending tear since World War II. To make matters worse, more attractive to make matters more attractive to small businesses, the United States is consistently spending huge sums of money with new suppliers. They continue to develop programs that foster small business growth, encourage corporate expansion, and at times outright market monopolization. You, as an individual reading this book, have the ability to come into the government spending market and become a dominant player, but only if you know how to get your product service into the hands of the government. GovCon Launch will uncover many of the false narratives around the government contracts and how to turn those into the greatest allies. GovCon Launch will show you to take advantage of the free resources to land government contracts during and after the global panini or pandemic, whatever. GovCon Launch provides you with the framework that will advance your government contracting journey, moving you one step closer to winning an evergreen customer, aka government client, right? And he goes through and shares his thoughts here on the book. Let me see if we can get. Let's see. Does it read this?
Chapter 14: Indefinite Delivery Vehicles and How to Use Them. When studying how the largest companies in the world ensure long-term sustainability to their Federal Procurement Division, we discovered using IDVs. IDVs are a contract/agreement awarded to one or more vendors to facilitate the delivery of supply and service orders. When using the search tool FPDS NG, they list out the types of IDVs that are input into the system. FSS, Federal Supply Schedule. The creation of schedules is restricted to creating this type.
So he has his stuff there. Let's see. It's on the page. What's in GovCon launch, and then the back of the book, right? Again, like I said, it is free, and it is also on audiobook free, and it is $5.99 and $12.95 for paperback, right? So those are the two books that he launched. But then there are other books that are out there that you can get a hold on. Let me see if I can pull up my Kindle that I have with tons of books. Oh, ooh, ooh. Hold on, I spelled it wrong. Oh, it's not on my machine. Oh, it's downloaded. It's all good. Let's get it downloaded. Okay, let me read the chats here. You love the emotions. You can sleep in the limo. What's up, Black Dub 21? How you doing? I can't sleep in the limo. I gotta see what's going on. I can't sleep in the limo. I gotta be abreast of what's going on out there. Let me see here. Hopefully I got this right. We'll see here in a minute. I'm logging into my Kindle, and hopefully I can share it with you. If I got my, I know the password was wrong. Hold on, let me get that right. Any questions so far? And I dropped the link to the chat as well too, in case you got some stuff. But I have more stuff. You know me. I always got stuff to share. Let me go here. Let me go there. And let me do that. And let me see. I'm trying to get logged into my Kindle so we can talk about books. Because I don't know. Are y'all reading any books on your skill sets? Are you taking classes? Where are you at? Let me see. Oh, here it is right here. Okay, that's what it is. We'll close that out. All right, we're in our Kindle now. All right. So, as you can see, my Kindle is full of stuff, right? Building wealth one house at a time, right? Family office, Airbnb properties, wealth management, retire, black software, multifamily millions. Um, this one here, insider's guide to uh, winning government contracts, multi-family development, um, product roadmaps. I mean, the list goes on that one. I have some. I have another set of books as well too, as well. So again, uh, that's just my small library. I have a ton of books at home, and then I have a ton of books that I got saved up on O'Reilly as well too. Right, I got a ton of books saved up on over there. Working on a few projects. Why they list the reading age as 12 to 18 for Eric's book? I think they were trying to make it as simple as possible. Working on a few projects. I'm ready for binaries. This list is gold. Not reading as much currently. Taking the Google PM course week 3. Okay, cool. All right, so let's get back to what my other stuff that I had. All right, so we're done with the government contracting. Let me know what your thoughts are. Was it good? Did you like it? So forth and so on. All right. So here's what I saw today that I found interesting. I found this interesting. Um, After developers complain, Microsoft clarifies its new policy on open source monetization. And why I find that interesting is because as we keep moving towards more open source products and people turning open source projects into full blown companies, full blown products, and so forth. People want to get paid for their ideas. It's just what it is. Some people do it for the culture. Some people are like, no, I'm not doing. I did it for the culture when I woke up this morning. Pay me now for my time, right? It says here. Let's go get into it. TechCrunch top 3. Microsoft came under fire recently by developers due to the way it worded a new policy banning profiting off of open source software. And while the company clawed back that policy, Paul provides a look at what all this will mean. No snakes and frozen statues here. Christian writes about Medusa's 8 million seed round to take on Shopify with its open source e-commerce tool for small businesses to grow their business beyond the basic API implementations provided by marketplaces. No, it's not today's Wordle answer. We checked, but A fan of the games will be delighted to know that the popular Guess the Word computer game is being turned into a board game. So now I wonder if he what kind of IP he did he sign away, right? It's been turned into a board game. We saw the Parker brother situation, right? We saw if you went back to that story last week about the young lady who created Monopoly. No offense, but men tried to basically 4 different times redo the game in a different way to escape the patent rule so that she didn't get paid. I have not finished watching that. I got to that part where it was 4 different times, 4 different men tried to manipulate the patent so they could get paid off of that. And that story is really crazy of how someone came along and took over her basically her intellectual property and made $1.4 billion as a whole as of today for for the Monopoly game. And I don't even know if that Monopoly game includes the other games like the themed games such as what was one of the themes, not Stranger Things but Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings, right? Startups and VCs, we have entered an unprecedented combination of crypto and winter and broad macro economic instability, and we need to prepare the company for the possibility of prolonged downturn. Like these are the things that people are saying out here, right? These are the things that they're saying. But this one's getting back into the situation with Windows or Microsoft and so forth. All right, so let me get back to my other one. This is one I also found interesting. And this is something one of the reasons why I really haven't took off on TikTok. TikTok chief security officer steps down amid increased scrutiny from U.S. officials. It has been shown they are doing, of course, data analysis on U.S. citizens, and that data analysis lives on Chinese borders and walls that they can't peek into, and you freely give your data to them, right? So if I ever want to get a profile on a 5-year-old in Wisconsin, I'm sure I could get it. If I want to get a profile on a 25-year-old black male in the United States, I can get that. Right? You freely give it up. You willingly give it up. And you're like, well, I see people are making money on TikTok, but at what cost is that? At what cost is that? Right? TikTok had to open up data centers here in the United States, but that don't mean in China they can't access their own data for their own company. That don't mean that, right? All right, so here TikTok announced today that the head of global security, Roland Coutier, I guess, or Cloutier, is stepping down effective September the 2nd. He would be replaced by Kim I guess Alabarella, who has been appointed the interim head of TikTok's global security organization. He will move into an advisory role at the company to focus on the business impact of TikTok security and trust programs. The organizational change comes as the popular ByteDance own app has been facing increased scrutiny from U.S. officials. Part of the evolving approach has been to minimize concerns about security of user data in the U.S. I wonder when you putting in buying stuff or whatnot, where's that data live? Including the creation department to manage U.S. user data for TikTok. CEO Xiao Zi Chu stated in a statement, "This is an important investment in our data protection practices And it also changes the scope of the global chief security officer, the CSO role, right? Not only that, it also gets into GDPR, security in the cloud. Where's data coming from? Where's data landing? How should it be stored? How should it be protected? What rules and guidelines are you following? All those things come into play. The change follows the aftermath of a BuzzFeed news report that revealed TikTok staff in China had access to the company's U.S. users' data. At the same time, TikTok said it was moving U.S. users' data to Oracle servers stored in the U.S. The BuzzFeed news report, which cites recordings from 80 TikTok internal meetings it obtained, claims the U.S. employees of TikTok repeated consulted with their colleagues in China to understand how the U.S. data flowed because they did not have the permission or the knowledge of how to access the data on their own. The report came as U.S. officials have expressed concern for years that TikTok might let China authoritarian government have access to data that the firm collects from Americans and users from other nations. If I ever wanted to get out and spark false narratives and stuff, you give it to them. In response to the report, numerous Republican senators wrote to TikTok to express concern about the company's policy regarding data. TikTok responded to the letter by admitting that some China based employees have access to data subject to a series of robust security controls and authorization approval protocols overseen by the U.S. based security team. The company also assured the senators by noting that it's working on a program called Project Texas to bolster data security in the U.S. based users. That sounds pretty doggone racist, if you ask me. Project Texas sounds like build the wall indirectly. That's what it sounds like to me. But that's just me, in my head. All important sourcing data protection, reading engineering cannabis statement. All important sourcing data protection, uh, sourcing data, protection, processing data, and also police the policy that guides the use of abuse of all data all big problems, right? But also internationally, what does that look like? You see people getting sued all the time in the UK for violating of data and policy and so forth, right? The broad goal for the Project Texas is to build trust with users and key stakeholders. Well, Project Texas wouldn't be one of the names that I would use, but that's okay. I understand there's some level of not knowing there. I won't say ignorance, not knowing, but maybe you do know. But I just find that very odd that you would name that to help build trust with users and key stakeholders by improving our systems and control, but it also to make a substantive process toward progress towards compliance with the final agreement with the U.S. government that will fully safeguard user data and U.S. national security interests. Chu had to say in a letter, and here's the letter if you wanted to look at that. I'm not sure about the name Project Texas, but okay. Uh, Let me double verify everything here. Um, this is totally different, totally out of the scope of this. I just thought it was cool. Have y'all seen the new Taco Bell? I just thought it was interesting. A futuristic new Taco Bell concept is open up in Brooklyn Park. Here is what it looks like. Order, pay, pick up, or whatnot. Here's what new Taco Bell looks like. All right, we just verify the customer name. We lift up the top of the lift, put the food in, push the button, push two buttons, and it's on its way. Um, that's what they're looking at, right? For the new Taco Bell, futuristic Taco Bell. Let me see if I can blow it up some. That's what your new Taco Bell could look like. Almost look like a bank. Almost look like a bank. But now that gets into the conversation of, um, do you need cashiers still? Can people just pay? Can they just roll up, stick their money in a slot, and it go over or whatnot, and it returns a coin? Or I mean, like, do we need cashiers? Are we automating cashiers? Are we automating everything now? Just the idea that I'm thinking about here, and see where I'm going with that. They say right now, order and pay if you got cash. But if I got a way to send food over, I got a way to get money too. Right? I got a way to get money too. So I don't need that. As long as you can get extra sauce, you put it on the screen, extra sauce, extra sauce. Let me see. Oh yeah. So this came out this week about the number of women in the federal and space. I think it was 27%. Yeah. Women account for 27% of the federal tech workforce, according to the EEOC study finds. Hopefully they're in good jobs, at least making 100,000 at least. Automation is now a catchphrase. Yeah, same thing. Repetitive process automation. I mean, same thing. Research found out of a total of 86,977 government employees in technology, 23,378 were female, right? Moving up, I mean, 27% is pretty good, right? 27% is pretty good in my eye. We got places down that have 0%. So 20% is pretty good in my eye. All right, so this one came up this week too. One of my favorite topics. Rolls Royce buyers are shockingly young. And if we get into this article, it shows that when recently announced its record breaking sales in 2021, about 5,600 vehicles sold worldwide. Rolls Royce has also announced the average age in the United States is just 43. It used to be 62. That means that many buyers are much younger than their in their 20s and their 30s. The Maxie Kane Lilly, a 30-year-old South Florida real estate agent and model, her Rolls Royce Dawn is her only car, and she takes it everywhere. She said, "Here she go, right here." She Dawn prices start at 350,000 before options, and Con Lily considers her car a both a mark of success and tool for business. So if she going to the spa, she in it. If she going to work out, she's in the Dawn. That's what it is. It's the only car she has. She said she picks up clients from the airport and they love it when she does. She's in Boca Raton, one of my favorite spots. Rolls Royce is the epitome of success, she said. So when I got to the point in my career, I decided it's an investment I wanted to make, which is probably in her business name. I wanted to make because it's an investment in yourself, really, right? And they go on to talk about some of the younger ones that are in a Rolls Royce, but I found that very interesting as millennials and so forth are starting to become millionaires much quicker than the age 62 that they say it takes 28 years to become a millionaire. We're seeing millionaires now much younger, around the age range from 25 to 40, right? We're seeing much younger, right? and not just a small batch, a large batch. A large batch is what we're seeing, right? So again, the what vision do you have for wealth accumulation, and what does that look like? What does, like I talked about last week, how can we get to 5 million in 5 years? How you get to 10 million in 10 years and still have your 10 to 20 to 30 million for retirement? What does that look like? How to buy businesses, how to create a fund, what is a syndication, what is a private equity fund, what is fund of funds, what is a family office, what does it look like to have an LLC and S corp or C corp? What does it look like to create a hedge fund? How do you acquire businesses and scale them and sell them? What does that look like for you? These are all conversations that we're going to have. We're not going to have them on this one. We'll probably have them more on Binary Hustler, and we'll probably also have them more in our private meetings when we start talking about those who are members. Our sessions when we start talking about achieving alpha. I spoke on this before. What does it look like to have businesses, systems, and processes in place? How to go about analyzing a business? How to where to find a business at to analyze. What are you looking for in that business and how to scale? Look at their books and do audits and so forth. We're gonna start talking more about that as well too. So again, we have a lot of things to discuss. Your skill sets come in. Your skill sets that you have can be used in a variety of different ways. You also have to be very mindful of gaining new skill sets that don't match what your end goal you wanted to have. Some of you, I hear you out here, are just like, I'm just going to do this because I just want to get in, and not being strategic about, well, how does that skill set really play off in the long run of long term bucket? We talk about our three bucket strategy for skills. Um, how does it play right now? Again, get a skill set, get an asset, get a skill set, get an asset, get a skill set, get an asset. And those assets don't always have to be a house. It could be land, it could be a rental, um, it could be a multifamily unit, it could be a hotel, it could be a car wash, it could be you buying a startup. It could you be buying a non. You could buy a nonprofit. You could. I mean, there's just so many different avenues and ways that we can chop up how to accumulate wealth, and where do those assets fall into our buckets, right? Over time. I hope that you all are aiming for at least a million in retirement at a minimum, right? Or right now, a minimum of a million, and then possibly 10 million for retirement, and even more, right? Don't let 10 million be the only goal, right? I just put 10 million out there because they're saying the average single person is going to need 2.5 million for retirement. So you might as well go ahead and add an inflation on that. And they're saying 2.5 million right now. So I figured 10 million would be it. But when you start looking at it and you start analyzing it, 10 million is really won't be enough if you look at from a tax preparing strategy. If your tax deferred is really, really high, like if you got like 4 million in there, you might as well cut it in half and then add that to your tax free, and that's really what your portfolio looks like. So how can you scale the tax free um, and less on the tax deferred, or what is it going to look like for you to do a Roth conversion on that tax deferred account, right? And I think I covered everything in all my notes. I The only other one I have is like the net worth of the average person right now. Um, Let me hold on. Let me see what this article is because I forget what this article is. Let me see what it is, and this will be the last one, and then we'll be ready to go. I was ready to get you on up out of here. Let me look. Let me double verify this article. Oh, okay, here we go. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I should have brought this up earlier, but I didn't. But since I'm talking about it, 5 streams of income that will grow your wealth. I should have talked about it earlier. I didn't. I apologize. But here we talked about government contracting today, right? Did you know that most millionaires have 3 streams of income? If you want to grow your wealth, here are 5 income stream ideas to try out. Studying millionaires is quite fascinating. Can y'all see this? Let me know. Drop a one in the chat if you can see this. Drop a one in the chat. I need to know if you can see that. I think you can. It looks pretty big on my end, but I'm not sure on your end. All right. Studying millionaires is quite fascinating because more often than not, they are regular, ordinary people with remarkable discipline and focus. Remember, I said people who are in the family office, in the family offices, in the 100 million range are very conservative. They're not taking risks because they want to send their grandkids, setting them up for wealth. We're worried about setting us up for wealth and our kids, but we need to be worried about us, our kids, our grandkids, and grandkids, or nieces and nephews. However, you want to slice up your money, right? Again, you may want to leave $1 million or $5 million or what have you to cousins. And some people are like, I'm taking this with me. No one gets nothing, right? Some people leave their money to cats, and some people leave them to dogs. Some people leave them to a charity or a foundation that's going to utilize that money or whatnot. That happens, right? Very wealthy, and you know what I thought about too. I wonder how many people pass on and their wealth is just sitting in an account somewhere, and people don't know how to get in touch with other family members from that for that particular estate, and so we got money just you just got money just sitting there because somebody passed on and they had a beneficiary, but that beneficiary had passed on and they don't know who the next of kin is, right? Be interesting. Very wealthy individuals get that way by working differently, not necessarily harder or smarter than the rest of the world. One fascinating insight into millionaires is they typically have multiple streams of income. Now, this was from 2018. 65% of the millionaires have 3 streams, 45% have four sources of income, and 29% have 5 or more streams. Most people have at least one stream of income their employment. They go to work on weekdays, and after enough days of work, they receive a paycheck. However, well over half of the millionaires have their total income streams for some that is work plus a at least two others, or for other at least two others. For others, they may not even include labor at all. Right. So let's get to it. Real estate syndications. Passive income is one of the basic wealth building blocks. Every person on this earth planet only has so many hours in a day. No matter how much you can actively work, you will always hit a ceiling on how much you can earn and how much you can save. You can turbocharge your wealth generation and passive income because you will make enough. You can even make money while you sleep. Real estate syndications. I keep talking about syndications. We'll go into them on another show, on a private show about it, because I got some deeper material. I have some books that are not in that one. They're actually in my O'Reilly that covers this. And I got some books here um, um, in my box that cover this. All right. So a syndication is a group of investors that purchase a particular multifamily or commercial property. These investments typically run for about 5 years and feature yearly returns of about 8%. On top of those above average returns, syndications sell the purchase building, sometimes providing investors with a 30 to 50% lump sum return at the end of those 5 years. But in order for you to be in that syndication, you need to be an accredited investor, or you need to have credentials that that show that you're an accredited investor. Hence, why I always talk about getting to the 200K It is not for bragging rights. It is for other opportunities that lead you to a wealth accumulation, and that's what it is. It's just the game. So you know the rules. So get in it and let's go. All right. All in all, while all investments risk losing money, it is uncommon for real estate syndications to return 80 to 100% over 5 years. An investment that potentially doubles your money every 5 years passively. That's why syndications are so powerful for building. Investment income. Another type of passive income stream that will grow your wealth is to have investment income. Syndications are investment, but this category is more generic, including dividends from equities and bonds. I saw earlier about ETFs that pay dividends, some stocks that pay dividends. I tell y'all all the time, get with your aristocrats and get with your kings. Your aristocrats and your kings that pay dividends over 25 and 50 years are your friends. Find out what's on them. If you don't want to invest in ETFs, invest in those that are paying dividends over time. Understand the drip method. Understand that, right? DCA your way into a stock if it costs too much. Buy fractionals. Get with a good account that can will allow you to buy fractionals, right? The investments would not pay life changing money, but as you grow your wealth, the stock market is a fantastic place. We talked about that 60-40 split, how people are moving away from that 60-40 split and maybe going 70-30, maybe going 70-30, right? It said the same thing happened to Tim Henry Gray, died with receiving 300 a share of 300 million fortune, right? It is a fantastic place to park your money safely while it grows, but we know it ain't been safe recently. We talked about I bonds last week too, or maybe the week before last, 9.62 on the return, right? To key to building wealth is diversification, and making income generating equity or bond investments will help you. We looked at tax free investments this morning. Business income is another side hustle, owning a business. It's here they talk about setting up a SEP IRA where you can invest 60 up to 61,000. If you do it right, you could defer over 80,000 a year if you invest that wisely. The sky is the limit for wealth. Royalties and licenses, that intellectual property that I talk about, right? The category is less common but essential is if you have the opportunity to create a product, sell it to the government. If you need to lend your services, ideas or process, you can sometimes license it out and collect a fee every time they use it. Your likeness, right? Your likeness. That's what the NCAA guys were calling out. You're using my likeness for here in eternity, and I can't never get nothing. Never ever, ever. Oh, okay. Rent out your car peer to peer is what they came up with. And we've come up with several different ones as well too on how to accumulate wealth. Buy a boat, rent a boat, buy luxury brand watches, sit on them for at least 2 years. RV parks, uh, land, and it was a whole list of stuff that I came up with. But again, we're talking about accumulating wealth. Well, I had dropped the link earlier. No one came up. I hope y'all enjoyed the show today. I hope that it made sense to you. I hope that you understand government contracting doesn't necessarily have to be all technical. I also hope you understand that you also don't have to just come up with an idea on your own. You can come up collaboratively. You can go in as a subcontractor. You can go in, be a part of another group. You can also get equity into a company or an idea that you come up with, right? You could be at a company and actually come up and actually get equity that way as well too, right? I've been in I've had a deal where if I bring the company clients and resources and stuff, I would get 10% of that. I also partner with people where I get, instead of just my salary, I get equity as well too. We're not talking about stocks. We're talking about equity into the company as well too. All right. So we're talking about this different ways you utilize, and you're going to say pimp my ride. I pimp myself out instead of somebody else pimp me out. And if I pimp myself out, I'm gonna make money off of me and nobody else is, right? So I'm the puppeteer for me, right? So how you see yourself defined in this journey in life and this journey to wealth accumulation is going to be super important, and I wish you all the best of luck. And please get your skills up. Please get your skills up. Take the time to take care and nurture yourself. If you're starting to do your estate plan, please make sure you include some type of health savings in that. Look at your HSA. Look at the health side of that for you as you get older. And then some of you have problems now. Some of you have problems now. Some of you have health problems now, and you need money. You need insurance, right? So again, I just want to point that out. I appreciate you all for hanging out with us. Thank you for the super chats, and we'll see you all next week.